Is there something that says European elegance more than elephant poop paper from Thailand? Hello artist, before we get to today's video, I just want to share with you that I will be doing another live run of my super fun floral playground course. We're going to start March 10th. It's going to be a live run, which means we're going to have a community and daily prompts. We are painting a lot in this class. It's really, really fun. Check out all the details on floralplayground.com. I will be closing doors once the live run starts. I hope you will join us. If you want to paint flowers with mixed media, watercolors, acrylics, and all kinds of other fun stuff, please join us. There is also new content for this year. If you are one of the existing students, then of course you are more than welcome to take part in the live run with, of course, no additional payment needed. Super excited. Hope to see you there. Let's get into today's video. I'm jet lagged. The place is a mess, but I had to start filming and tell you what was a real game changer in a very real life situation, I think, for probably a lot of us. Hi, welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Irit. I'm a watercolor and mixed media artist based in Austria and Europe, and on my channel I share my artsy adventures. I have to tell you, if I'm being completely honest, as a full-time artist for quite a few years now, I have really struggled sketching, and I'm not even talking about painting, during family trips. Most of the trips that I've taken in the last years, my art supplies traveled with me and then traveled back with minimal to no use. But this time, I definitely felt a huge improvement. Did I fill an entire sketchbook with glorious artwork? No. Did I sketch more with more joy and ease than any trip before? Yes. And the reason was something that really surprised me. It shouldn't have surprised me, but it did. I'm going to tell you all about it, and I hope this will help some of you. I know that a lot of people are in my situation where, I don't know if you can relate to this. Let me know in the comments if you're the same. I really haven't had the possibility, the opportunity to go on painting trips or sketching trips. I hope to do that one day. Honestly, I'm not sure it definitely hasn't been in my budget. When I see kind of artist retreats in Europe, let's say, or in other places, they usually start from like $4,000, $5,000, not including travel. And they last like a full week. I'm also a full-time mom, and so I don't really have the option to do those things. I'm also quite a maximalist when it comes to art supplies, and I love using mixed media. When I travel, it's mostly on family trips, and there are like a lot of things going on, and I'm not necessarily in that state of mind of like really spending hours painting and getting into that flow. There's really almost never an opportunity to do that. I think in my art journey, I've mostly been a painter and less of a drawer, doing more painting, more, using brushes, less drawing with other materials. And also, I think one block that I feel like I was like hitting my head, like I was, I don't know, hitting this wall or something for years, where a lot of the like urban sketching and sketching I was exposed to was done with pens and inks and then watercolors. And I don't know why it took me like so long to realize that while I really appreciate some artists that make incredible urban sketching artwork using those materials, it is not for me. And it doesn't really matter which of the 10 fountain pens that I've got I try, or the ink or whatever. It's actually the line quality that really doesn't appeal to me. It's just not something authentic, and it's not something I enjoy the result of. And so it took me like a really long time to figure it out. This time on this trip, I really forced myself because we traveled to Thailand and we were 3 people and we had 1 suitcase, and it was like a big suitcase, but it wasn't like a massive suitcase. We went there with 16 kilos. So each one of us had, like a bag of clothes and then like bathing stuff like that. I mean, luckily it was warm, so summer clothes are much lighter to pack. We did laundry there, but I didn't have a lot of space. So that really forced me. I didn't want to go with anything because I also know that my daughter and I really enjoy just like playing and drawing and playing tic-tac-toe or whatever when we're waiting at the airport or on the plane. We had very long flights, or waiting at restaurants for food, or just hanging out on the beach. So I didn't want to go with anything, but I also knew that I just couldn't afford, like I didn't have the space or the weight options to take a lot. So this was the most minimalistic kit that I've ever traveled with. And I know it's like not a surprise to a lot of you. To me, it was surprising that I really, really enjoyed having fewer supplies. It was very easy to get started and not, have like a lot of things around me. So I'm going to show you in a second what I took, but it really was a game changer for me. And again, like I can't tell you, oh, I filled like a whole sketchbook. I really didn't, but I sketched and drew more than in previous trips. And I think this experience really helped me see that while I do things a certain way in the studio, I don't actually need them or enjoy them when I'm on the go. And that was like kind of the second biggest shift that I realized, besides working with very limited supplies. I'll tell you also why it surprised me that I really enjoyed limited supplies, because I'm all about color. And while obviously if you take like a very basic, split primary palette of watercolors or gouache or whatever, you can make almost every color. But I don't like spending like tons of time like mixing, and it doesn't really fit the setup. So my biggest surprise was that I actually really loved a very minimal use of the watercolor and gouache palette that I took, and my joy and fun of sketching this trip was using pencils and pastels. That really kind of sealed the deal for me. That realization that when I'm out and about, I really create in a different way, and I should really focus more on those techniques and those supplies that work with that. And I think for me it was just like a bit harder to accept, because usually acrylic paint or watercolor paint or gouache is the main medium that I use. And so it was kind of hard to switch gears into that more drawing state. But I absolutely loved it. And yeah, again, it was, I don't know, I like when I look at my sketchbook, I didn't really do a lot, but it still feels a lot more than other times. So I want to show you, just to kind of give you a realistic image of, someone who, I love to draw, I love to paint, but I really struggle doing that on family trips. I also have all kinds of issues when I'm traveling. I'm mostly the organizer. I think I take it kind of upon myself to make sure that everything is great at any given moment and everyone is happy and everyone is feeling good. And that just doesn't allow me to relax into art as much as I would like, and that's like totally on me. So just keeping it real, but I do want to show you what I took. And again, like hopefully this will inspire you to try going also with a very minimal kit. I'm trying to think if I actually really missed anything. And I don't know that I did. Like, okay, maybe if I had like a few more colors, that would have been like fun and gave me like a little bit more variety. But you'll see that I had like a lot to work with. So let's get into the kit. Okay, are you ready? This is all that I took. I took this Muji notebook that I really love. I took this mostly for my daughter, and it was actually not new, but there's still enough free pages, and I figured like a notebook I can always buy for her. She doesn't have specific paper preferences like her mother. And then for me, I decided to take the Art Creations sketchbook, which I think was a good choice. I think probably the one thing that I might reconsider like taking this particular sketchbook on another trip is just because there are like so many pages here. So it really felt like, you know, I didn't like I made a tiny dent in the number of pages because I didn't really like sketch a lot. So I think that's kind of like the only thing, but I really like the red color. They have such fun colors. Right now I'm almost done with the coral one, and I think I've gone through like a couple of the coral ones. There's a really pretty aqua color, and they have like a bunch more. There's a light purple that is also pretty. So yeah, I think the red is really pretty. It's a great sketchbook if you don't want to get precious, because there's like a ton of pages. The paper is nice. It's not perfect. It's not great for watercolors, although for what I did, which I'll show you, it was really okay. But yeah, if you really want to use watercolors, I always say, if watercolors are your main medium of sketching, then pick a specific sketchbook for watercolors, because you will just be disappointed by the Art Creations one. It just doesn't perform well with, you know, mostly watercolors. So that's what I took. I'll show you what, I don't know if I want to show you what I made, but this is the palette that I took. It had more colors, but I really curated a palette here, and maybe I'll swatch it so you can see the colors. I used this very little. When I did, I really enjoyed it, and I had like enough space to mix colors. There are a couple of decisions here that I think are very good for me. For example, to put this lemon yellow right next to all of my turquoises and greens, because I'm not likely to use it for mixing with any of the colors here. So it just made sense to have it here. And also if it gets like dirty with green or turquoise or blue, it's really okay, because I hardly, like I never use just like a lemon yellow. So that was good arrangement. It's a great palette. I probably could have managed and had almost as good a time sketching without it. And I say it as someone who loves watercolor. I love painting with watercolor, but I don't know, in this setting, it wasn't like that necessary. And then this is everything else that I took. So I'm going to take it out and arrange it in a more pleasing way for you to see, and I'll show you some of the swatches so you can see kind of the color story. So this is what I took, and obviously I have many more colors from each one of these supplies, but I tried to take small pieces so that the weight would be reduced. I really gave up on the need of having all the colors in all the mediums. And what this did is it actually made my process easy to mix mediums because, you know, I had just like this yellow only in this, and then the orange I only had in like a pencil form. That really helped get, I think, a more varied look. It just kind of forced me, you know, if I wanted to use a certain green, it only meant I had it in pencil form or in a watercolor stick. This is basically the color story that I have. So you can see there are like a few of the more like earthy greens here. These are my neutrals. I really loved them and I didn't really feel the need to have more. This is my favorite shade of neutral. This is French gray, which is like a very warm gray, like a taupey color, and I love it. I had a few kind of teal minty colors, a few blues. I just find like they're not always the colors that I'm super excited about, but I think especially when you're painting, you know, landscapes, or you're in a scene, or you're like a beachscape, sometimes they're needed, even though it could be like a fun exercise to try and capture it with like a very limited color palette of blues or without any blues. I mean, obviously, I think you could use any color you want for the water, and I think if you're in a place like Thailand, it's very warm without like that tropical trees everywhere, you could like very easily get away just using turquoises. But I had these blues, I really enjoyed them. I had actually the darks. This was probably a little bit redundant, where I had the Neo color in this. Then I also had my beloved dark indigo luminance pencil. So that was probably like a little bit of overkill. I had my pinks and then a bunch of yellows. And I think my biggest surprise is that I used this pencil so much. I mean, it's a great color. I just don't use red very often, but this is quite like an orangey red. It is permanent red 061 from Luminance, and I don't know, I really, really loved it. Again, I think I was just surprised at how easy it was to use it and how fun it was to kind of have the material dictated for me, because I usually chose it by the color. So if I wanted to use, I don't know, like a light blue, I only had this. Like I didn't have really any other options except mixing or like using my palette, which I just used it less. Not having like the wet materials just gave me kind of freedom to move around pages faster, not having to wait for things to dry and just like putting it away when I wanted to. So it was actually quite liberating. This was like the first time that I only traveled with a water brush. As much as I hate using like water brushes in any other setting, it was just very liberating not having to get a cup of water or somewhere to put it on. I don't know, it's just like these steps. I feel like in the past they just stopped me from scribbling and doing something. Well, I hope this will kind of give you a few ideas on what to actually sketch when you're on vacation, even for those moments that not in front of like some incredible view. So I kept the first page empty. I could probably do here like a little swatching of all my supplies. I think that would be fun, or write the destination, the dates, something like this. And I just like started with our journey. And this is like the first flight. We flew to Singapore, and then from Singapore to Bangkok, and then from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, and then after a few days in Chiang Mai we flew to Phuket, and then we spent almost a week at the beach in Khao Lak, which is an hour and a half from Phuket. Then we went back to the airport in Phuket, flew to Bangkok, spent a night in Bangkok, and then flew to Singapore, Vienna. So the rough part of this journey is the Vienna-Singapore flights, because they are around 11 or 12 hours. And so I made this, and my daughter also made her own. Yeah, I think this was it. So we just like you know, kept track of the time, and usually like the last hours we somehow didn't even pay attention and just discovered at the end that like the last 3 hours we didn't do anything. So this was just like sketching a little bit at the airplane, a couple of airplanes that I saw, and the windows had like this feature where you could turn it into like a like this shade of blue, or you could completely like dim the windows, so I thought that was fun. Sketching kind of people and situations and scenes is not something that I have a lot of experience in. It's actually not something that I'm very interested in. So I really try and like pick and choose the things that are interesting to me, and then I just, you know, I pick them and create my own like imaginary collage. So this was actually one of my favorite concepts here. It was just like the flights and, you know, keeping things very, I don't know, like children's book illustration style. I loved having the thick neo art or neo colors just so I could block out areas. I love the look of this, the texture of this, and like the line quality of having these it was really, really enjoyable to me. And I have to give credit, of course, to Sandy Hester, because I bought these a while ago, the neo art ones, and I kind of ignored them because like the neo colors are like my true love. But I had a lot of fun. She mentioned them in one of her videos, and so I thought, okay, I'll take a few, and they're just like so fun. They're not very different from the neo colors. For me, like in the feel, they're a little bit creamier and they're not water soluble. The neo color 2 are water soluble, but it was just like super fun. And I really tried to make small sketches just using my imagination and not necessarily, you know, capturing a scene. So this was just like a sort of like a memory of the night market, just, you know, the colors and stuff. It's not like actual things, just how I have that in my memory. And then I tried to kind of capture the things that we did, but that just, these things never work for me. So maybe I'll come back, maybe I won't, I don't know. We went to like an elephant sanctuary, and then I wrote the other things we did. I don't know, maybe I'll stick some photos here to like remember this. You know, we did things like zip line, something like this. It's not something I really see myself capturing. And then I did really like these like travel days, like doing the airplanes, and I thought I could do that in a few other variations, like maybe on a world map or something like this. So I thought that could be fun. A hard day meltdown. So this was at the beach and I really enjoyed it. This is, as you can see, it's like very, very abstracted, very just simplified, and I had a really good time. A little bit of water that I think I used my water brush. I did take with me a few 4 of the Daniel Smith watercolor sticks, and I did really enjoy them. I feel like they give you kind of texture options that you can't really get with other materials. So I really enjoyed having those. I might consider on my next trip, not that I have like such a exciting different kind of scenery and everything trip planned, but I would definitely consider getting a few more of these. And I don't know that I need like the entire stick. I think definitely I could break them to smaller pieces so I could take more colors and not have it weight as much. So I really enjoyed that. I tried to play a bit with, they have their like in Thailand like 7-Elevens like everywhere, and they're almost always like really, really full, and they have like all kinds of like fun snacks and stuff. So I tried to do that. And then on those days, like on the beach, I tried to just like capture the trees and mostly kind of figure out how I liked to like which materials I liked to capture them. And I really found that I prefer like a pencil or a pastel for these kind of like, you know, palm trees as opposed to a brush. So that was just like my observation. I was playing around with it. We spent like just a couple of nights in a more like a, you know, nicer hotel, and that was there, you know, the pool and the trees, very minimalistic. Here I used, I think, more watercolors than anywhere like else to that point, and it was fun in Kaulak. Yeah, this is where like I swatched my materials. Here's just like my luggage tag, and this is for the flight back. As you can see, again, at some point I stopped doing this. Also with the water brushes, I could probably manage just with the small one. This one has like a bigger tip. These are my favorites. They are from Pentel. They're my favorite water brushes, and I'm not a fan of water brushes. Small one was enough for me, especially again with this paper. It's just, it doesn't love a lot of water. So I think it's kind of pointless to have larger brushes where you will have more water, because the paper really doesn't like it. So the small brush was like plenty for me. So yeah, that is my very, very, very humble sketchbook. Maybe one day I will break the spell and I will come back with like a full sketchbook. Maybe I'll challenge myself to just sit with some photos and do some sketching and just like fill it up a little bit more with the experiences. But I hope this entertained you, made you feel good about yourself and your sketching accomplishments on your trips. Oh, I can show you a few of the things that I bought. I really hardly bought anything. I really wanted to buy something I could hang in my room that will remind me of the trip, but will still be very kind of loyal to my aesthetics. And eventually I found this cute little thing at a cute little shop in Kaulak. I really like the colors, I really like the vibe, the price was right, and also it didn't take up much space, which was, you know, a theme since we just had one suitcase for 3 people. And we brought like a few souvenirs, nothing like major. I'm not a fan of, you know, buying things just for the sake of buying things. So, you know, when we saw something that we knew our like very, like members of very, very close family would like, then we got them. And then I don't think my husband bought anything for himself. Yeah, so I got this little cutie. In Bangkok, I really wanted to get some cute stationery, and it proved to be, we didn't have a lot of time there, so I just didn't have enough time to look for things. But I got a couple of washi tapes, just because I want to stick a few things in the sketchbook. And I got these pens. Actually, I got them for the Vienna retreat. I mean, I think they were just like adorable. And I thought they would look really cute in the kind of gift basket or like goodie bag that I'm going to have there. And I kept a few of the packages. I mean, this was just like some chocolate waffles. I didn't even eat the waffles. I think my daughter had a few, but I love the packaging, and maybe I'll stick that. I want to stick that also in my sketchbook. And this, you know, this was just like some pancake with like chocolate filling. But I just like, I love the packaging. So I kept, I mean, look how cute that is. So I just kept like, I think that's it. There's, yeah, there was this one also. I mean, I'm gonna cut them, I think, and just like stick them. This paper, which I really love the color of, it's sort of like a wisteria lavender color. And this is made from elephant poop. We saw the whole process. They use, you know, elephants eat a lot and they poop a lot. And the poop actually smells, you know, they just eat like grass and rice and fruit and all kinds of like yummy things actually. So their poop doesn't really smell, and it can be used to make paper. So actually I should have probably bought like a few more colors, But again, this was like at the first day of our trip, so I didn't want to like buy already a lot of things. And I think I will also do something with it, like cut it up a little bit, and it'll also probably be in the goodie bag of the Vienna retreat, because, you know, what says, is there something that says European elegance more than elephant poop paper from Thailand? I don't think so. So there. And then again, with the retreat and the goodie bag, and something that I hope I can make, because I really want to, but I haven't, like, I don't have a lot of experience with that. I bought some scarves that, I don't know, maybe some people are going to be very angry, but I don't actually see myself wearing this. I mean, maybe I'll keep one, but I really bought them just because I loved the colorful embroidery, and I want to cut it up and do something with it, hopefully. I wish I bought, there was like a really pretty aqua one that I really wish I bought, but these, I bought this like peach, like light peach color. This color, it's like my favorite. I don't ever wear this color, but I love it for this idea that I have of using the fabric. This is another one. I love this one also. So you can find these in a lot of places in Thailand. At the end of the trip, I also saw them in Bangkok. I actually bought them in Chiang Mai, and I actually bought most of them from, we went to visit the long neck tribes, where a lot of them are refugees from Myanmar, and they're like allowed to live in Thailand, but they live in very difficult conditions. So they had also things that they do there by hand, but I really liked the aesthetics of these more. I don't know where these are made. I don't think they make them there, but I just really liked how they look. So I bought a few from like several different women, just because I wanted to like try and help them a little bit. And then when I went to Bangkok, I saw them also in Bangkok, and they were cheaper there. But so I just wanted to share that. I love, love, love the embroidery. I have some ideas about how to use these, but I will probably cut them up. And you know, if I need more, I'll just go to Thailand again. No, I don't know, I didn't check. I mean, maybe, I'm sure you can find these also on the internet. But I just love the colors of the embroidery. So this is what I got. And then I got a few things at Uniqlo at the end, like in Bangkok. I don't really enjoy shopping as much as I used to. I just like to experience places and eat yummy food. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon with another video. I also have all kinds of things happening. I'm going to do another live run of my floral course. It has been closed for registration since I launched it last year, and a lot of people have been like sending me messages and emailing me asking when it's going to open again. So it is going to open again very, very soon. We're going to do another live run. Of course, if you're a member of the Joy Art Club, you get extra discounts on top of any other special prices that I have, but that is coming soon. So if you wanted to take that course, Floral Playground course, which is so fun, if you like florals, I'm gonna say I haven't really seen any course that teaches painting florals like I do. Yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that you are signed up for my newsletter. And I have all kinds of other things planned. I will update you on everything. I'm just like trying to get over jet lag and, you know, back to kind of reality with shopping and cooking and laundry and all those things. So it's coming slowly but surely. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.